How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out a video about the iconic Swedish foods that you need to try before you die. So I did another video recently on I think it was top 7 inventions you didn't know were Swedish, and you guys responded positively to that. A few of you ribbed me a little bit for a comment I made about Sweden not being militaristic, and I explained myself in the comments on that video. But thank you to everybody if you're here and you watched that video that responded. You guys were tremendously helpful in explaining things, giving me a little more background, giving me some more inventions, just context on some things that were in that video. I really appreciate everyone that did that. So that's why I decided to check out this video. I like to eat. I know everybody likes to eat, so I want to know what's on this list that I need to try. You guys can help me by in the comments down below telling me what didn't make the list that you would have put on here, or what can come off, or just give me some general information about what I need to try. So we're not going to waste any more time and get to this reaction. Before we do that, though, if you haven't hit that like button and that subscribe button, please consider doing so. That way you'll know whenever I release new content. All right, let's check this out. So it looks like we're going to have some sweets for sure.
If you love delicious cakes, pastries, and fresh seafood, you should know that those IKEA meatballs are just the start of what Swedish cuisine has to offer. We're sure you're more than familiar with the concept of Swedish meatballs, whether you've had them foisted upon you by a cocktail waiter at some formal event or sampled some while browsing furniture at IKEA. After all, more than 2 million meatballs are eaten daily at IKEA's stores worldwide.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Many of us have already tried the iconic Köttbullar during our lives. One of the best aspects of Köttbullar, or Swedish meatballs, is the immense variety of ways in which it can be prepared. There doesn't appear to be much in the way of hard and fast rules required to categorize or define Swedish meatballs. Frankly, the only required ingredient for Köttbullar, according to the Swedish Institute, is love. Actually, there is one other prerequisite to enjoying a truly authentic Swedish Köttbullar: lingonberries, which are served on the side.
For me, the meatball is so much the IKEA culture. It's convenient, it's Swedish, and pretty much for everybody.
Some may call the Swedish food Knäckebröd a Crispbread. Others, not unreasonably, may choose to classify it as a cracker. Setting semantics aside, this relic from historically impoverished times in Sweden has remained a staple because it is easily stored, has a long shelf life, and offers immense versatility. Knäckebröd can be enjoyed as a snack or as part of a meal, and is an oft-included addition to Swedish smorgasbords throughout the year. When you consider it can be topped with any variety of delectable items, both sweet and savory, from pickled herring to jelly, it's obvious why this crisp bread has endured for roughly 500 years. For anyone doubting the veracity of Knäckebröd's claim as an iconic Swedish food, don't just take our word for it. Take it from IKEA. Alongside its beloved meatballs, the company also sells Knäckebröd.
Okay, so to me, that looks like a cracker. So you guys will know, but they mentioned it being, well, they mentioned both. They said cracker and bread. So it looked kind of like a cracker to me. That's what I would consider it. Here we typically have dinner rolls or yeast rolls, or sometimes cornbread here in the South. We love our cornbread. So where does that fall? Like I said, it looked like a cracker to me, but is it just hard all the way through, or is there kind of bready in the middle? Is there different, look to be different styles? Can it be made different ways? Let me know down below in the comments.
If we're being honest, no other Swedish food may be easier for the US palate to handle than pyttipanna, which is essentially just a meat and potato breakfast hash made with leftover food items. The simple
done that before
makes it a clear winner in homes throughout Sweden. Who can resist the simple yet delicious combination of eggs, potatoes, and meat? Not only does pyttipanna contain a flavor profile suited to US taste preferences, it is also fairly easy to prepare. It involves little more than sautéing everything but the eggs in a single pan before frying the eggs separately to place on top of the dish. Trying pyttipanna should be on any list of iconic Swedish foods to try.
That now.
It's often credited as being one of the dishes that define Swedish home cooking, and it's no wonder. It's warm, hearty, versatile, and a complete win. Frankly, the idea of a sandwich cake can be tough to wrap your head around. So is the entire notion of a savory cake, which is what smorgastorta is. Of course, since a cake is nothing more than a vessel to contain a combination of flavors, it's no surprise that cakes can work with savory ingredients.
Okay, I've never thought of a cake that way, a vessel to store flavors. Interesting. Go back just a little bit and
The
keep
notion
going.
of a savory cake, which is what smorgastorta is. Of course, since a cake is nothing more than a vessel to contain a combination of flavors, it's no surprise that cakes can work with savory ingredients. As long as you can get over any initial reservations, you'd do well to try this savory sensation from Sweden before you die. And while it may not resemble any sandwich you're used to seeing, there's something to be said for experiencing something completely unexpected. Part of the appeal of smorgastorta is that it's served cold, which allows for preparation well in advance of any guests arriving to devour your beautiful concoction. It's also easier to prepare than its intimidating presentation would suggest. Sweden has been a sovereign.
Okay, so I have a question. It says cake, so it's like when we hear cake here, obviously sweet, you know, it's flour, milk, eggs, butter is the main ingredients, and then you know there's some kind of icing on it or whatever toppings. So they mentioned savory foods, and it looks like I saw some with shrimp, some with some cold cuts on it, lettuce, but they didn't really show the inside of the cake. But at the first, and so is it like a cake that we call cake, or do y'all refer to cake differently? Because it also mentions sandwich, so now I'm confused. So yeah, you guys explain down below what's the inside of that. You know, I saw all that on the top. So what is on the inside? Is it bread? Is it cake like I know cake? Let me know down below.
Nation since 1523, and with such a long history, it's not surprising that many traditional foods have remained prevalent through the years. Even though modern culinary capabilities have rendered moot some preserved items such as pickled herring. Despite the seemingly unappealing appearance and the notion of pickled herring, it remains an essential component of Swedish smorgasbords. As noted in the book, Treasured Recipes of Our American and Swedish Kitchens, pickled herring ranks as the most important of all Swedish smorgasbord dishes. All the others can be or not be, but the herring is a must item. It may seem odd to enjoy herring prepared through pickling, but according to Visit Sweden, this centuries-old method of extending a freshly caught fish's shelf life proved both cost-effective and tasty. And with such a long track record of satisfying Swedes, the continued popularity of pickled herring proves the old notion: if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Not gonna lie, that one will be a tough one for me, but I will try it. I'll try anything, but I may be surprised. That's why we try things. So, but that one's is the one, if I had to just off the top of my head say would be difficult for me, that would be one. But I do like pickled things. I've just never tried pickled herring, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that this year for sure. And if I do it, I'll let you know what I think.
Lutefisk is, of course, the almost unbelievably odd dish that's famous, or rather infamous, as a traditional holiday meal in Nordic communities throughout the Midwest. And while lutefisk's origins clearly lie in Scandinavia, it may actually be more popular with Swedish immigrants and their descendants in the US than with native Swedes, according to Smithsonian. The borderline poisonous preparation technique for lutefisk involves preserving cod in lye. Yes, lye, as in the corrosive chemical often used in cleaning. Use of lye in preparing lutefisk results in a gelatinous final product that emits a near-suffocating fishy stench. Preparing and eating any food product in such a way may seem dangerous, but it's been done for a long time, and serves as a powerful symbol. Once prepped, preserved, and eaten out of necessity, it's now a way to look back on ancestral foods and literally taste how far we've come. And yes, there's a good chance lutefisk is a dish you're not likely to love, but given its unique history, preparation, and taste, texture, smell combination, it's something worth trying when you have the chance, even just once.
Like I said, always try anything once. But when I was just here listening to that, the thing that popped in my head always in situations like this was like, who tried it first? Who was it, an accident that it happened, or did somebody experiment? I know, like here, we talk about during the Great Depression about what people did. They did it to survive. You know, that's why you had people eating pig ears and all that stuff, brains and other parts of the body that get thrown away for the most part now. But it was a survival thing. So I respect and I appreciate the history behind stuff like this, and just curious to know, or I would love to know, who was the first to try it, and was it out of necessity or an accident? So just fascinating history. Love it. I would try it.
You know, I always say, well, when your taste buds die, well, then you like lutefisk.
The origin of some traditions can be easy to trace. History has recorded just why things started, who started them, and why those precise things or something close to it continues to pop up over and over.
Tradition is tradition.
But the passage of time often obscures the truth about how something started. This is particularly true when talking about food duos that seem made for each other. One of those duos is Sweden's traditional Thursday lunch, archopo och pannkakor. That we don't know where or how this classic combo was created doesn't diminish its appeal or ability to satisfy. Perhaps akin to grilled cheese and tomato soup in the US, archopo och pannkakor has been a simple and consistent staple in Sweden for ages. It is served everywhere in Sweden at lunchtime on Thursdays. How it became such a staple remains unclear. There are a number of explanations offered for the place of archopo och pannkakor in Swedish culture, including being derived from military customs or emerging from religiously imposed dining restrictions. But when you're dipping your pancake into that perfect pea soup and all your worries seem to melt away, does it really matter? If you're
fascinating combination.
Food and eating as a communal event to experience together, you need to prioritize attending an authentic Kraftskylva, or crayfish party before you die. There, you will have a chance to try kraftor. Given that kraftor is simply crayfish, some of you may believe you can check this one off your list already, but to truly experience this iconic Swedish seafood, you need to do so at a Kraftskylva. A tradition for nearly a century, the so-called crayfish party involves plenty of kraftor, festive hats and bibs, singing, and general revelry. Additionally, there are several varieties of both salt and freshwater crayfish species in Sweden. Even without the hullabaloo of Kraftskylva, kraftor remains an iconic Swedish food worth trying.
So we have crawfish, and that looks very similar to me as crawfish. So I don't know, forgive me, if crawfish and crayfish are in the same family. Ours are definitely freshwater, not saltwater. But yes, that looks like an amazing time. I know here we have crawfish boils is how we call it, where people gather around, and it's just a good time of fellowship and community. And similar as what you're seeing here, just lots of food and drink and fun, and it's a tradition here. Matter of fact, the season for it right now is just now ending, so we'll have to wait till next year for it again to get the traditional crawfish, but that looks amazing and definitely something I want to try.
Sweden has one of the highest life expectancies in the world, with Swedes living a whopping 5 years longer than people in the United States. That makes it hard to argue with the assessment that Sweden is an exceptionally healthy country, but there are still some Swedish desserts you need to try during your lifetime. At the top of that list is ostkaka. The name of this delectable dessert literally translates to cheesecake.
That was good.
But it's not nearly as heavy or rich as
love
what
cheesecake.
An American palate might be used to. That's not to say ostkaka is a healthy dessert option. It may not be quite as decadent as some cheesecakes, but ostkaka isn't something that should show up on a daily meal
Good for
plan.
me.
And here's the thing. Don't worry about how ostkaka compares to U.S. desserts. Rather, just trust us when we tell you that if the opportunity presents itself, you should make a point to try it for yourself. While we do...
That's one of the things that people have to keep in their minds, is not to compare it, try to compare it to what you know, just try it and enjoy it for what it is. And yes, I mean, there's going to be general comparisons, but just, she made mention that the word for it, forgive me, I forget, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it, but translated into cheesecake, but it's different. And, obviously we would try to compare it and, make it be the same, and it's not, it's something different. So I think that's important to remember, is to not always try to put something in a box relative to what your experiences have given you, and just appreciate, especially when you're talking about a different culture, just appreciate it for what it is and what it represents.
Do consider ourselves somewhat of an authority on all things food related. We're inclined to defer to the experts whenever possible. So don't take our word that Räksmörgås, an open-faced shrimp sandwich, is an iconic Swedish food worth trying before you die. Instead, take it from internationally renowned celebrity chef Marcus Samuelsson, who once wrote on Instagram, "There's nothing more Swedish or delicious as this Räksmörgås." So that's it, right? If the longtime Chopped judge's declaration isn't enough to prompt you,
that looks amazing.
I'm not sure anything else can. So unless you're less than enthralled with shrimp, or if you have a shellfish allergy, which is a fair reason to avoid it, there's little reason to think you'd be anything but satisfied with this simple sandwich. With more than 2,000 miles of coastline, it's easy to understand why seafood has played such a large role in Swedish culture and cooking throughout history. After all, before the importing and exporting of foods from around the world was commonplace, you could only eat what was available to you. As a result, gravlax, or dill-cured salmon, has become a Swedish staple. Similar to pickled herring, gravlax likely originated from the need to extend the shelf life of freshly caught fish through various curing techniques, yet its subtle and light flavor had ensured it endured through the years, even when better preservation and cooking methods became available. Some may believe gravlax is like any other cured salmon. Some may believe they've already tried gravlax if they've eaten lox. But gravlax is prepared with less salt than lox and incorporates sugar and dill during the curing process. In other words, it's not the same. What's in a name?
That I want to try.
If the alleged history of the iconic Swedish dessert Princess Tårta is to be believed. Some of the facts are indisputable. It was created by royal family tutor Jenny A. Kärrström, and it made its first appearance under the original name Green Cake in the 1948 edition of the cookbook, The Princess Cookbook, Home Cooking and Holiday Food. And while many agree that eating Princess Tårta is a rare treat, its popularity may not be solely owed to its fantastic flavor. In fact, some speculate that the dessert's early rebranding from Green Cake to the more elegant Princess title is largely responsible for it becoming a cultural icon. Whether or not that's true is unclear. What is known, however, is that the cake includes a signature outer layer of green-colored marzipan and has been a widely enjoyed dessert for decades.
Yes, please.
Occasionally, the evolution of a culinary tradition is easy to track. Sure, the how isn't always entirely clear, but when it comes to why some foods become ingrained into a society, the answer can be quite obvious, as in the case of Semla. After the nationally beloved Swedish pastry first found footing as a Fat Tuesday exclusive treat the night before the start of Lent, the Swedish Institute says that the baked good is now commonly available every day from Christmas through Easter. So, what are they? A cardamom-flavored baked bun split in half and filled with almond paste and whipped cream. Resembling a gigantic cream puff, Semla can be eaten however your heart desires. According to Visit Sweden, though, the traditional method involves using the bun's top half to eat the oozing cream filling before
that makes sense.
The remainder.
That looks amazing.
Swedish culinary preferences tend to lean towards lighter, less rich fare. But like any rule, there are always exceptions. And the moist, uber-rich kladdkaka or chocolate sticky cake certainly fits that bill. In a lot of ways, actually,
it's like a brownie.
It's less of a cake per se and more of a cake-shaped brownie. The tremendously dense chocolate goodie is almost unbelievably easy to make with a short list of ingredients that are simply mixed, poured, and ready to bake. Additionally, slightly underbaking your kladdkaka will lead to an eminently memorable final product, creating a gooier than normal center that perfectly complements and contrasts its external texture.
The only way brownies should be made, and I will stand on that hill for the rest of my life.
Honestly, we're not sure how to sell you any further on kladdkaka. Go find a slice of Sweden's chocolate sticky cake and you'll die a happy person.
Must try that. So, that was an amazing journey. I'm going to say everything on there I think I would like, with the pickled herring and the salmon. That wasn't pickled, but yeah, maybe it was it. No, it wasn't pickled, but it had the salt and the dill. But I think I would like that one for sure. The pickled herring is the only one that I'm not too sure about. Oh, and the one with the fish that turned into the gelatin that had was it lye? That one maybe. But otherwise, everything else looked amazing. I would love to try all of those, and I'm gonna try pickled herring for sure at some point this year. So if you guys know of a brand that I can get here in the States, which ones should I try? Put that down below in the comments. That way I know I'm getting the closest and the most authentic to what you guys know. So I'd appreciate it if you put that down below, and I'll definitely give it a try. So thanks for being here. Leave some comments on some other things. What made the list that you love? What's not on here that you love? Any other comments that you guys have, please let me know down below. Thanks again for being here. I really appreciate it, and I hope everybody has a great day and an even better week. Thanks.